Hey dreamers, this is Anisha Jennings, a fellow immigrant and an entrepreneur. From being an engineer in India to building my tech business in the US, I've lived the journey you're on. Welcome to Your American Dream podcast, where we turn immigrant challenges into superpowers. Are you feeling out of place, struggling with a job hunt, or simply missing home? I've been there, and I'm here to guide you through it. In each episode, we'll dive into real stories, practical advice, and mindset that will help you write your unique success story. From navigating cultural differences to building a purposeful life, I've got you covered. So if you're ready to turn your immigrant experience into your greatest strength, let's dive in. Your American dream starts now. Welcome to Your American Dream. I'm Anisha Jennings, and today I'm so excited to welcome Britney Glass, a quality of life designer who helps radically ambitious women create lives and legacies that defy reason by clearing the clutter, draining their time, energy, and confidence. Her work empowers women to reclaim the capacity and audacity they need to live big, bold, and beautifully. Brittany's mission is centered around helping women conquer self doubt, ignite confidence, and fully embrace their extraordinary desires. Through her unique approach that merges interior designing with life coaching, she helps clients design exquisite lifestyles and reconnect with themselves like never before. Welcome, Brittany. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. It sounds so long when I'm hearing it back.
It does. Sometimes it just happens. And the other day I was on a podcast and it's the same thing. I'm like, oh, that sounds a lot, but that's all. We're trying to summarize everything you do in like a couple sentences. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Thank you for having me.
my pleasure. So tell our listeners about Brittany, how you started and how you decided that here is where you want to be, like, combining interior design with life coaching. Where did this journey begin?
This journey actually began with being really honest about what I didn't want. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is typically something that a lot of people struggle to do, being very honest that the things that they thought they wanted aren't actually feeling good to them and they don't like them, and then they end up stuck in them for a really long time, and so much time goes by and then you don't actually figure out what you want or get what you want. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was actually pretty young when I was like, wow, I have gotten all of these degrees and all of these certifications, and I'm working for this really big company, and it didn't really feel like it mattered. And I wasn't enjoying it. And so I was just like, I don't want this. And started to explore what other options could be out there, and what life had to offer. So that's how my journey started. I wanted to quit my corporate job, but I had absolutely no money. I was basically living the paycheck to paycheck. I live in New Jersey. $80,000 not gonna get you that far, okay? And
Yes.
so I Googled how to become wealthy, and real estate investing came up. And I decided that I was gonna quit my job and buy investment properties, and again with no money. Okay. So it was just also a testament to my audacity at the time to just really look around and see that there were people who were actually living their lives, that they loved their lives and were enjoying it and had created the things that they wanted, and realized that I was no different from those people and I could do whatever I set my mind to. In my brain, I really thought that. And so I started to pursue um, real estate investing. And within maybe, I think 8 to 9 months, I had closed on my first real estate property. And that actually just led to like this domino effect where I got introduced into interior design. And then when I was into doing interior design, just being in the business world, and you become like obsessed with personal development, right? You want your business to be better. You want to work faster. You want to feel better. And I discovered life coaching and was applying those tools in my life. And they worked so well that when I was really thinking about like who I wanted to be as a business and how I could actually serve my clients like at the highest level, I realized that interior design could be create transformation when coupled with coaching, right? Could create significant transformation, right? So somebody's literally creating their own world. So that's how I got here.
Awesome. That's a great story. about your audacity. So tell us a little bit, take us back on how all this started. Like, how did you know, how did you start your college life, your certifications? How did you get to that? So tell us a little bit about your early life and schooling, and then, how you got into a corporate job.
Well, I don't know how long we want to spend on that because I feel like I've lived 12 lives since then, but I basically picked my major going like any, mini, miny, mo on the list that I thought were majors that were mathematically inclined. Okay. And then to my surprise, accounting wasn't as quantitative as I thought it was, but I was always an excellent student. I really was. And I was an excellent student without a lot of effort, which is
Oh,
really
wow.
right? So I actually have work ethic. I just happen to be able to pick up on things really quickly. I actually ended up interning at a major accounting firm, and they ended up offering me a full time ride for when I graduated from college. And so then I went and worked for them after I got my CPA and my master's degree also in accounting. But I knew probably from the first summer that I interned that I did not like accounting. And so that's when I actually started studying finance. So I had actually gotten in trouble, and that's how I got the attention of one of my accounting professors because he didn't like me that much. But then I guess he realized that I wasn't challenged, and he introduced me to like the dean of the not the dean of business, the dean of accounting, and he just took a liking to me, and he just taught me how to trade on the market. And I got to take finance classes with him without paying for another degree. And
Wow.
that's how I got all of my series licenses, and I was registered under his firm under his firm for finances for very quite a few years until I decided to leave all that behind. So I've been really good at a lot of things. I actually really, really love uh finance and trading the market. So at a certain point in time, it just became you're doing a lot of things and you would make, you have a business. Okay. So you made $100,000 here. Okay. Now you in trading on the market and you done made a couple $10,000 there. Oh, you selling real estate this month. Now you made $40,000 here. And it was like, I was running around like crazy. And I'm like, you have like 500 different businesses. You're always into something. And I'm like, why don't you just choose something? Well, what happened was when I would create success, I didn't understand business and work ethics. So I would jump into something, I would be interested in it, and I would pick it up really quickly and get results. And then when I would hit some type of challenge, I would change what I was doing.
Okay.
And so then I was just basically like, how about you just pick one business and go all in on it? And so I was like, we started with interior design. I actually like this. And so I was like, let's just do that. And so at that same time, I am applying my own life coaching skills that I'm learning because I'm like, hey, wait a minute, we need to reduce things. Like we need to significantly reduce all of
Yes.
the around that you're doing, constantly overworked, overwhelmed, and applying it to my life literally in real time and now being able to be more present and be
Uh-huh.
able to master what I'm doing and really create depth and clarity in it. And so then I was actually able to pay attention to my clients. And that's how I got this idea to combine interior design with life coaching because I actually had my slogan from the very beginning was Powerhouse Women and Powerhouse Homes. And Powerhouse Women started calling me. I don't know what it is, but we like attract each other like magnets.
Yeah.
Like very ambitious. So we're like, yes, that's me, right? I would be working with these amazing, brilliant, achieve like so women that has so much pedigree and achievement. And behind closed doors, they were totally different people. They didn't have as much confidence. And we'd be having conversations, and it's just like, well, I am also not living what I want. This is what I would prefer to be doing. Or I'm not sure who I am now that I have this husband with all this money. And I used to actually do all these things. Or I am have this career that is like so successful, but I actually don't feel good and I'm exhausted all the time. And so
Hmm.
like, wait a minute. These women are calling you to change their environment because they want to feel something different. They want to feel at home with themselves and connected to themselves. And I was like, wait, so you need life coaching too. Everybody needs life coaching.
Yes.
And that's how basically this story played out.
I love it. Love it. So, what would your advice be, right? Like you said, you pivoted so many times, so to say, from this field to another. When did you think that, okay, I need to stop and just, like, what would your advice be to others who are just trying to find what they like but are pivoting? Like, pivoting is not necessarily bad, but how to know when to stop pivoting and when to find something that you can go all in. What would be your advice from your experience so far?
I have two ways I kind of want to answer this question. So one is through awareness. I just want to say it out loud so I'll remember my points. Like one is, okay, let's just have some awareness. And then the other is I'm going to approach it from a lens of possibility. Okay. So the awareness piece is actually most people think they're very self-aware. There is a Harvard study that says like 95% of people say they're self-aware. So they really feel like they know themselves. The study concluded that only 5% are actually self-aware.
That's that's
So
like twins.
it's significantly the opposite sides of the spectrum, right?
Yes.
So self-awareness is not, okay, I know what my preferences are. Self-awareness is I know exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and why I'm acting this way. And so through my not only lived experience, but through all the information that I now understand about how our brains work, and through just coaching so many people, so many women through this process, the only thing we normally have to change our circumstances is our mind.
Mhm.
So, right now, whatever situation that you're in that you do not like, unless, and my disclaimer is, unless you're in some type of abusive or domestic or forced situation, right? So, this is
Yes.
just for general advice. Your thoughts and your feelings about it make you feel bad about it. And when you're able to really get to the root of what is causing that discomfort, what's causing whatever pain and suffering you feel right now, you can change your thoughts about it, right? And
Mhm.
that's where you take back the most amount of power. So you always want to be in full, what I call radical responsibility. So this is your ability to respond to any situation that you're in.
Right.
So once you have that awareness, you don't think about your pivoting as if you're reacting.
Mm.
You don't think about, hey, I'm going to look this way, or I'm going to look like I don't know what I want, or I'm going to look like I don't know what I'm doing, because that's what you're thinking when you're saying, hey, pivoting too many times, or why don't you have a husband yet? Why are you still dating people? Or I haven't found a career yet. And I say, I know, when we were in college, I remember we had already had that conditioning and that bias, because I remember they would talk about the people who had been there more than 4 years and had switched their majors. I think those people were onto something. They knew how to go towards they knew what they didn't like, and they were like, hey, I'm not going to spend too much time here. Let me go explore something. Let me go use my time and energy more proactively.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
So that's the awareness piece. Now, the possibility piece is that you can just decide. You just decide. You literally are like either this way or that way, and it doesn't matter which way it goes. I think the problem, when we ask the question of how do you know when it's time, you don't, you actually decide.
Yeah.
Because when you're like, I'm waiting for a sign. So when you're like, hey, I want to know when is it time? You're
Yeah.
waiting for a sign. You're waiting for something to come in and get you to move.
Yes, for sure.
Versus when you decide, when you say, hey, this is my path, come whatever may,
I'm just gonna
you
get it.
approach it completely differently.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I totally agree with
This
that.
is for me. And when it's for you and you're like, I'm going to get it no matter what, you are going to go after it with a totally different level of you're compelled.
Yes. Yes.
And when you're waiting, you're questioning.
Yes. Yes. So it's like, yes, you're not going to, you're not gonna ever have time. You gotta make time, right? So similar to that, it's never gonna be the right time. Now is the right time whenever you take action. So it's always like action over perfection and execution, over so much of planning. And that's what I'm hearing. Is that right?
100%. But let me tell you, I am the queen of planning. But I think that most people think they're very good at planning because they like to research, right? And
Right.
that
Right.
researching and strategizing and spending a lot of time in that bucket is not actually real planning. Okay.
Yes, for
I
sure.
like to say planning has a time and a date and a location, and it should not take you that much time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I believe that in order to execute effectively, you definitely have to have a plan. And then you execute. And now as you're executing, you also need to be constantly evaluating.
Yes.
Because what I do find is, so most people aren't evaluating, so they don't even know that they don't have a plan. Right? Like, so it's
Yes.
just, I had these thoughts in my brain, right? But I don't really, and I think I've looked up a strategy, right? But am I actually executing a plan? Do I know what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, and how I'm going to do it?
Yes. Yes.
And then and so then people will start doing something, and then something goes wrong or life happens and there's no evaluation. And then so they're like, that plan did not work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got to give it time.
Yeah, but it's not actually true. It's not that the plan didn't work, it's that you didn't work the plan.
Yes. I love that. You didn't work the plan. I love that. Amazing. So you worked with so many ambitious women and, who have success markers, but they still feel empty. Why do you think that happens? And what would be your suggestion or advice on how to go about this?
I think the most obvious reason why this is happening is just because women, I can only speak for women in this country have have had the freedoms and the rights that they have for a shorter amount of time than our counterparts. So, okay, that's really what it is, right? So they had a head start. And so when you're influence and form policy and say, okay, you can do this and you can't do that, or this is how much you get it, this is how much, this is what's appropriate for you, people conform. And so women have been, all of us and these multiple generations that we're at right now, who have literally seen where women were just getting their first bank accounts and able to get that without their husbands or their fathers, to women actually being able to work and go into, now they not just doing labor work, now they're actually doing technical work.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this is happening within the last, 50 to 75 years. So women have been basically told, here's what you can have and here's what you can do. And they haven't had the experience of thinking, oh man, I can do anything and have anything. So that's really what it comes down to. Normally, when I'm telling people what I do, I say I work with women who are tired of denying the fact that they want to live big, bold, and beautifully. I actually caught a snippet of a podcast the other day, and I thought what the topic around feminism and women was so interesting, because the woman was talking about how, she doesn't really believe that women are actually meant to be submissive because of how resilient we are. Right. So it's like, hey, go sit in the corner, put baby in a box. And we are like, heck no, we won't go. Okay. Like, we are fighting through and through all the way. And the tides are changing. The tides are changing in the next, what is it? In the next 4 years, women are going to own majority of the wealth in this country.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's like the tides are changing. And that's why I also think that you see so many policies changing as well. Cause it's like, wait a minute, we got to get the women under control. The women are doing things.
Yes. Well, for sure. So tell us what your, working with you looks like. Like, how can someone get in touch with you? What is the best way to reach out to you? And what is your service? And tell us a little bit more about your work.
Well, I help women design like the most delicious lives. And the women I work with are ambitious in a sense of, they don't just want professional success and recognition. They also want to be able to relish in all of their hard work. They want to be able to enjoy their lives and be present in their lives, because that's just what women love family, women love culture, community. And without being able to have those things, we tend to feel very isolated. We tend to not have the fulfillment that we may actually be presenting
Mm,
to the outside world, especially as women who are very high achieving and see themselves as really intelligent or smart or change makers and, trailblazers.
yes.
So essentially, I help women get to what I call the clutter, the things that are getting in the way, that are draining their time and their energy and their confidence, that have them actually overextended or
Mhm.
just overthinking.
Right. Right.
And I help them to clear that up. And then I help them to actually replace that with the life that actually aligns with what they want. So we're looking at their lifestyle, their day to day. We're looking at how they're making decisions. We're looking at how they're showing up in the world, like their je ne sais quoi, like their secret sauce, and making sure that all of that aligns with what you actually want out of your life.
Amazing. So tell us a little more about how you have combined interior designing with life coaching. I haven't heard that before. So what made you think, you know, I mean, what made you come up with the idea that you can sync them both, and how has it helped you with the life coaching part?
When I was doing this in real time, I don't think it was as visionary as it sounds now, right? When I was doing this in real time, I was like, "Oh, I like how this might work together," right? It was inspired. And
Mm.
I actually ended up creating my first iteration of this during COVID.
Oh,
So I had already had both an interior design and a coaching business, right? So I knew I was already into coaching, but I didn't originally have the idea, hey, let's put them together. Like, oh my gosh, I thought about it, but I was like, oh, that's weird. Nobody's doing that. And then during COVID, there were so many women who had a separation of state, right? So they had home and then they had work. So they would be going in a corporate office and then all of a sudden they had to do work at home.
right.
And those boundaries that those walls had were gone. And so
Yes.
they're not able to focus. And there's just a lot of things bleeding over and they're not as sufficient as they normally are or as executive as they normally were. And I created a service called Zone of Genius. And it
Mm.
to actually create a home office and help them get back into their zone of genius, right? So like
Wow.
helping them to reduce their clutter, become more productive, manage their time better. And that's actually how this started. It started through like a spark of adapting, right? Like, and
Right.
at this same time, I was actually still doing real estate investing too, because I
Wow.
remember that we didn't know what was going to happen in the real estate market. So all activities had stopped. You couldn't even go visit people in their homes for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I got to make something work on the internet. So
I
so
love it.
this happened, yes. And it's amazing. Now it's so funny because I just read Big Magic and she talks about how like ideas, I love the way that she talks about how ideas are actually like living and breathing and then they jump into different people. Because I actually hear a lot of people talking about this merge of mindset and your environment a lot now.
Hmm.
Organizers talking about decluttering. There's quite a few people I've seen online that kind of have this same like flavor now. And it's all good. I know that you notice this as well being in business, right? There's someone for everyone and we all have
Yes.
different styles. So, yes, that's how it came.
I love it. It's such a unique idea too. Like I said, I haven't heard it before, and that makes so much sense. Like you already had the interior design, you were helping set up, the interior design part of the house and just helping them. That's amazing. So you are like a vivid, voracious reader. So tell us a few books that have helped you on this journey, influenced you, and that you could pass on the knowledge to our listeners.
I love this question because I actually have a list on my phone. I had to make it recently. I sent it to one of my younger brothers. I was like, you need to read all of these books. You need to read a book a week. So the first one I'm gonna recommend off the bat, especially if you're like, oh my gosh, I have to read books. If you're listening to this and you're like, something else I have to do, the first book at the top of my list is Limitless by Jim Quick. Is it James Quick or Jim Quick? Please forgive me if it's the wrong name. One of those. And because it's all about unlocking your brain and getting your brain to work faster and processing better increasing your memory, etc. And so there's also a section in there around speed reading. There's also a TED talk I watched a couple of years ago, also during COVID, because I had canceled all of my subscriptions on deleted all my social media, and then I bought like $800 worth of books from Amazon.
Wow.
I was learning languages and reading books, and I was like, I have to read faster. The world is ending. So TED Talk on speed reading. So that's what actually got me into the speed reading. I just Limitless also has a chapter on that, so I recommend that. Another favorite is Rejection Proof. That was such a good one. This kind of goes back to, making that decision versus waiting for a sign. Because when you're waiting for the signs, when the times are bad, when you feel really bad or something did not go as expected, you won't keep going. You're like,
Hmm.
the sign, this is not for me.
Yeah.
You have to be rejection proof.
Yes.
And the reason why most people don't have what they want in their life is because they fear rejection, they fear failure, they feel fear being wrong. And one of my favorite people in the entire world is Miss Beyonce Knowles, honey. Miss Beyonce Carter, okay? Let me give them the respect. Because when you think about her journey, like number one, she actually has implemented one of the major things that I talk about in my program. One of my favorite things that I work with my clients on is an alter ego. And so you think about Beyonce in her 20 what plus year career now. And before she wasn't Beyonce, she used to say she would step on stage as Sasha Fierce. And now you see this convergence where Beyonce is exactly who she thought she was, right? It's Beyonce.
Mm,
That first, but also her throughout her career, she's had major failures, right? She has literally fallen downstairs in front of people, jumped up really, really quick. She had multiple clothing lines that didn't work, other like business ideas that came out and didn't work, and she kept doing it over and over and over again. So she
right.
went from a failed jean clothing line to a sold out athletics sports collection over 15 years later. So, rejection proof. And what's another one? I'll give you 3. What's my other oh, this is hmm.
Tough to choose.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no. I'll give you 3 and I'll give you an honorable mention. Okay. I love Never Split the Difference. All on negotiating.
Mm,
I think women need to learn how to negotiate better. Women
thank you.
definitely need to learn how to negotiate better, how to
Yeah.
ask for what you want, how to get what you want.
Yes, for sure.
I think Atomic Habits is someone that everybody knows, but it has
Yes.
to be mentioned.
Yes.
And I also love Outliers.
Okay. Well, we'll
That's
have all this in the show notes for our listeners.
amazing. They will all in each change your life. You don't even need all of them. Each of them will change your life.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, you were also talking about mindset and physical environment, right? Tell us a little more about it and how you can, what mindset shifts are required, what physical environment changes are required to just get you out of your clutter.
Yeah. So most people operate from willpower. And that means they are going to will their way, right? So when I feel like it, I will. And when I
Yes.
don't, I won't. That is a problem because life is 50-50. You have both good and bad emotions. For many people, majority are bad, negative emotions, right? There's really
Right.
no bad, but they make you feel bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about being consistent, we have to always think of systems. What helps you to actually still execute and take action consistently without relying on how you feel? And
Mm,
your environment is like a game changer. Your environment, first, it impacts you so much. I don't
yes.
think people realized until we were all stuck in the house and then like the interior design industry went crazy during
Yes.
that
Yes.
because your environment impacts what you think, how you feel, the decisions that you make. It will remind you of who you are every second of the day, and people are not using it to their advantage. This is
Mm,
why when your environment is clutter or really distracting to you, and you don't have a time and a place for the specific things that you actually need to be really intentional with, you can almost guarantee that you won't be very effective with it.
yes. Yes.
So, for example, if you are, we already talked about this, if you are working from home, do you have a office space? Are you able to be undistracted based on the work you do when you go in there? Are you able to actually just start getting the work done?
Mm,
Are you able to be inspired when you like in the energy that gets you into your zone? If you are in a relationship, do you have a place for you to be together and be very present with each other? There was actually a study about like single people who were looking to be in relationships and how if you had one night stand, you were less likely to be attracting a partner versus if you have two night stands. So interesting, right? Because now like it's reinforcing the one night stand is reinforcing I am single, I'm alone, I'm not calling
mm,
anybody in because these are
right.
actually your thoughts. It's the environment you're interacting with. It's like nobody's here.
Right. Right. Oh, wow.
But if you put the nightstand in, and if you have a double bathroom, a double sink, right now you're like, oh, somebody's coming. Somebody's going to use this.
Right. Lovely. Well, that's so detailed, but overlooked too, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be thinking about that unless you actually notice it. So thank you for sharing that. So what does success mean to you today after all these years?
What does success mean to me? I think that success is whatever I decide it is.
I love that.
It really is. Is what I wherever I decide it is. I think right now, I think if you are like, man, I love life. And this could happen in a day where you woke up in the morning and you had a whole meltdown. You never know, especially with us and our hormones. Okay, you might have had a meltdown this morning
Yes. And you still go through it.
And, you might be listening and be like, oh, that doesn't sound right or that doesn't sound good. But we are just dynamic beings and we have
Yes,
dynamic emotions. They're very complex. And so success is exactly what I make it. It's amazing how creative we can be. It's amazing be one way, like we can be very, restricted in one way. And then there's so many people who are completely opposite of that, like very liberated. So it's exactly what you make it. You decide. And when you're like, hey, this is enough for me, that's exactly where it's successful. So right now, even in my life, I'm just like, life is good. Life is so good. Like how you wake up and you decide what you want to do today is amazing.
for sure. For sure.
Yep, and your life is exactly what you design. That's what success means. If I were going to sum that up, success is, especially for me, it's like, man, when I look around, everything that I have around me is what I designed and what I chose.
Mm.
I think it gets any better than that.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. So, what would be your advice to women who feel stuck in a life that she's outgrown?
My first advice would be, or my first question to you is, do you actually want to change it? That has to be it, right? Because it's like you might feel stuck, but that doesn't actually mean that you want to change it, right? Are you 100% okay with this continuing to go the same way
Right.
for the next 5 years, the next 10 years? If the answer is no, what you're probably going to need to do right now is step out of waiting for somebody else to get it right, for somebody to come along, for somebody to notice you, listen to you, whatever it is that you're waiting for, and start creating and start
Yeah.
curating, start negotiating, and start eliminating.
Very important.
It's my favorite. We would be here forever if we get into that.
Yeah. But that's amazing advice. If anybody wants to work with you, they can explore more by reaching out to you. What is the best way someone can reach out to you?
Okay, so my favorite playground right now is LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn using my first and last name, Brittany Glass, Britney, glass as in the glass you drink out of. However, if you have show notes, I would like to offer your listeners a free Clear Your Clutter session with me.
Beautiful. That would be great.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're going to do together. If right now you feel stuck and you're like, I want out.
Mm,
I want to live outside the box, outside the lines. I would love to help you. When you come to your Clear Your Clutter session, we're going to figure out what the clutter is. We're going to figure out what are all the reasons why, like, what is it that you actually want? And what are all the reasons right now of why you may not believe that you can have it or why you're not able to actually do it. So that is the clutter. And we're going to clear it up when we work together.
beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is amazing to get a free session with you. That's just amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, sharing your experiences and your advice and all the golden nuggets that you gave us. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. My pleasure. As we close this powerful conversation with Brittany, one truth stands out. Success means nothing if it costs you yourself. Brittany reminds us that life gets richer when we stop living by default and start designing it with intention. And if you're building a bold business platform or next chapter and need support behind the scenes, my agency is here to help. We create strategic, high converting websites that reflect your authority. We offer podcast management services that amplify your voice and provide team and system support as your business grows. Because expansion should feel elegant, not overwhelming. This is Anisha Jennings reminding you that your American dream isn't just about achieving more, it's creating a life that feels as beautiful as it looks. Until next time. Thank you for tuning into Your American Dream. I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to take on the world. Remember when I first landed in the US, lost and overwhelmed? Well, look at us now. We're building our dreams together. Your story matters, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. If you enjoyed our chat today, please spread the love. Rate, review, and share. Let's grow this amazing community of dreamers together. Want more? Catch my daily doses of inspiration on my Instagram @JenningsTechCorner. Also check out the show notes for more ways to connect. Remember, your accent is the voice of your ambition. Your background is your superpower. Let's dream big and achieve bigger. Until then, this is Anisha cheering you every step of the way.